can we hear you, Dutch boy?
Yes, we can, I hope.
Yes, we can. All right, let's see if we can get this party started again. Thank you, everyone who has waited so patiently for us to get back. Yeah, I mean, technical problems happen, but we are here and we are ready to jump back into this game. Oops, that's not right. Hang on, we just saw that game. Okay, so we just saw Eduroba versus Gwent to Town with Gwent to Town's great swords, if I'm not mistaken, taking that one. Am I going mad?
Yes.
No, that's right. Okay, so Gwent to Town's greatsword's taking it by 2 points. Was it 3 points? Very close match.
Very
At
close,
any
it
rate,
is.
I'm sorry that it had to be all messed up with a few technical issues, but we do still have another game here that we need to watch. So let's jump straight in there and see what happens next.
Nothing like a dwarf to get you to a tight spot. To the dungeon with him.
Okay, so here we are. We are seeing Radovid armor, and I believe it is a Siri Nova. Yes, it is a Siri Nova variant of Radovid armor up against Bruverhoog.
And I expect to see same version of the Brewer since he is still playing with the other Team Aretuza players quite a bit. And we do see both the Shiro and the Igni once again.
Yeah, that is it. It is looking very similar, isn't it? And I think this is also running the Dolbothana Bomber. So it's going to be interesting here to see how this one performs at this point. But it's kind of, I guess we need to call this the Aretuza Dwarves
So
at this
you've
point.
thought about this.
Yeah, pretty much.
Alright. We are jumping in here, we are choosing... Okay, so he is gonna open up with... I'm trying to predict it, but I don't know which one he's gonna choose.
I feel like he would prefer the Canadian Knight Elect for the very first moment. It's kind of like he's wondering whether the Knight Elect is actually gonna go off and keep on ticking, or
feed
whether
you
it's
to the
just gonna
crows!
get executed by something like an Ida.
Absolutely. And yeah, I guess just kind of looking at it going, I could. And it looks like he's gonna drop
To the
Radovid very
dungeon with him.
early. Just denying those Blue Mountain elites.
Yeah, basically getting one of the only targets that actually have a text on them that do much. You could say that he could keep it for the bomber, but the
Humans
bomber is
must
actually
stop
not
and
great
leave,
against that
folk.
Roba's deck. Most of his cards have that armor, and with all the armor, the damage doesn't do much.
Well, absolutely, and Eduroba probably also doesn't expect to see the bomber at any rate. So it'll be interesting. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's very early, but I suppose he's just trying to get it out. He knows there's not a lot of engines that are going to be found on the board. So he just says, no, you know what? I'm just going to get this out of my hand now. There's 14-point play, but obviously in this case 12-point play, and get on with the job. And he's now hovering over Stennis. Oh. He's not sure
Looking
here.
for something.
Yeah, he is.
He does want to get the immediate 2 points out of the Knight Elect, since he does know that it's most likely gonna get either skirmished, gonna get hit for 3 and lose its value once again, or it's gonna get executed. So you do want to get those initial 2 points for sure.
I'd fail and
And
Harry
Gwent now taking advantage of his point benefit there and reversing the coin flip. Now putting Eduroba down. And Eduroba, for the looks of it, does not have access to a spy. So... Oh wait, he already played his spy. Sorry, my
He
bad.
already- yeah.
Yeah. So
No
it might
worries.
still be a little bit muddled up from all the technical issues. But anyway, we do see the Knight Elect coming down, and you're right, absolutely right, he's going for that plus 2 points early on. But we see Muzzle. Is he gonna use it? Oh, he's thinking about it.
expect him to.
He's thinking
This
about
is-
it. He's trolling us a little bit there, but he does. He takes the muzzle onto the Redanian Knight Elect and says, "Oh, 2 points per turn. That sounds nice. I'll have that, thanks." Eduroba, of course, looks like he's just gonna go for the straight up and down kill. Just thunder that baby and go in for the kill. He does not want to see that muzzle
I
get full value.
I've got to
I
get this
really like
stinking mess in order.
Gwentetown's spy timing right now, because he waited a little bit just to make sure he could set up the good Igni, but he didn't wait too long so that the muzzle that he got off the spy, which was a pretty high likelihood since he only has 2 spells in his deck, would still be effective on the next Night Elect.
Exactly. And I think also the other thing is, like, from a psychological perspective, he might have, by not playing the spy quite so quickly, Eduroba might also then assume he doesn't have access to it, and might, you know, play a little slower perhaps than he would have otherwise.
And he is in quite a rough spot right now. Being 15 down is nothing to scoff at.
No, it's not, and he's hovering over some of his win cons or some of his big point plays, but it looks like he's gonna off.
This is priceless.
Try to high roll this one, and
Long live the king!
Not enough. Oh.
So Gwentetown can now choose whether he wants to go for the -2 for Eduroba, winning Eduroba the round, but being 2 cards down, he is likely to go up a card into the last round. But Gwentetown does have those Scorch and Igni effects that do incentivize him to play on and give him more say into the next 2 rounds.
Absolutely. And you saw him there just kind of hovering over his 10-point plays, just going, oh, I really hope he isn't running Igni in his list, because if so, I've just given him a nice one. But he is not running Igni, and he can rest easy. And yeah, we kind of see this situation here where Gwentetown's thinking, well, you know, I could put you 2 cards down, or I could just win on even. And that would obviously be a preferential situation, I suspect, for Gwentetown. And Eduroba is going to go in for the... Oh no. Oh no. We saw that card hovering underneath that cavalry. And it is going to be Nova. This is... man, that's rough. That's rough.
This is very expensive for Eduroba. He is basically throwing so much at this round right now that he might get his card back, but at such high cost that it's probably gonna be even more favorable for Gwentetown.
Yeah, and I mean, Gwentetown is sitting on that Igni as well, and there was nowhere where Eduroba could put that Nova, really, could he? Although the cavalry he could have played on the range row, couldn't he? And then, but at any rate, we do see the Igni come down and kill the Nova, which, yeah, that's expensive. Man. You gotta feel for him. But in that situation, you really don't want your opponent to win on even. You know, then you give them control of the next round, and they get last say. I mean, it's just... So he's fighting here. He'd rather win 2 cards down than give his opponent the win on even.
And this is something where you can see basically who is in the driver's seat right now and who's in the passenger seat. Gwentetown is basically being the boss and bullying Eduroba around. He is saying, okay, you play on, I'm gonna win on even cards and you're gonna be screwed and use all your win conditions. And Eduroba cannot do much about it. He's just getting pushed around.
Yeah, and it's tough. I mean, that's, as you said, that spy timing was really quite brilliant, and it does now put Eduroba in a pretty tricky situation, where one of his best plays right now is a Thunder. I mean, he's considering the Thunder, but does take the position.
But it won't be too hard for Gwentetown to keep up with the tempo. Only Bali is a really big break in his hand right now, but all his other cards are generating a good amount of points.
And even this bomber can keep him ahead. I mean, it's gonna give him 6 points extra, and I don't know, it's just... he doesn't even need it, you know, but it's hard to see how Eduroba comes out here.
But the Bombler does enable his shiny though, so that means that Eduroba is able to push a little further, and if this goes to the final card, Gwentetown won't be able to keep up because of that Bali.
Because yeah, we don't know what's... I don't think there's anything in his graveyard right now, is there? We can't see it, but here we see another 13 coming down. That Shuru right now, its target is going to be that 17-point cavalry. Yeah, thinking about playing it on that road, but thought the better of it in the end. Okay, so Eduroba leading by only 4 points. And how lovely it burns. There it goes.
And at this point he has to get scared and not he might be thinking right now of giving up the spot, because even if he is able to win this round 1 card down, he is throwing away all his win conditions, and after using those 2 gold cards, he doesn't have much left for the last round to
Not now that Nova has
finish
made
him
an
off.
appearance, no. I mean, that's the thing, that's what he's relying on. That Nova was really his insurance policy for a short round 3, and wow, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone. So he's hovering over the Selkirk and thinking about playing it on that 14. He's seen all the Scorches I think he knows he's gonna see, so...
Stand and fight,
But he might
cowards!
take the 10 anyway. Okay, that's
And
enough.
that does give Pauli an option.
Ah, it does too. Good point.
So this means that Quentin can bully as long as he wants and can eventually win on even if he chooses to do so. But he is also starting to use some pretty big cards. He has already used 2
Glay.
of his bigger gold cards and is now already using also using the Glaze as well.
He uses the Glaze for the
We'll pay
reinforcements
men
into the
back for their
Agitator,
persecution!
into the Skirmisher. Whoa, giving a massive 21-point lead. Shani into Deathmold, I don't think is enough. I don't think anything in there is enough.
Doesn't look like it.
He didn't show us for very long, so I can get... Oh, there we go. No, yeah... 8,
That's
6, 14,
Pretty big lead.
18...
19. Yeah, that would be
It
enough.
would be enough. It would be enough.
But
He doesn't know
it
what's
does.
in Gwentatown's hand, that's the problem.
Yeah.
He's gonna go for it. He's committed a lot to this round. You would not blame him to go all in on this.
He's basically praying that Quentin has some kind of brick in his hand that he
Yep.
cannot use.
That's right.
Maybe let's say an Atori or what else could he
And he's
also-
going all in. He's trying.
For the king!
6, given that 5-point boost. And he is 2 points ahead, but Gwentatown has enough.
Basically everything he could have had in his hand right now would have been able to take him down. But it is actually Polly, and that's a little rough for Quentin because he has to use yet another big card.
Absolutely. Even Mr. Max's Foglets there would have done the job. We do see Gwentatown taking the round on even. It's hard to see how Ediroba is going to come back from this. Having used up, I think, all of his golds now. Oh, and yeah.
This will be a game of throwing some shitty bronzes onto the board because no one really has
For
anything good left.
Kedwin!
Yeah, some not so ideal bronzes. Exactly right. I mean, I have to say it's looking pretty good for Gwentatown in this situation.
Even though they're both having not so great cards, Quentin is up
Oh.
a card, so
Yeah.
that does give him a big lead.
Oh, and
And
that's
that's just, yeah,
yeah.
that's the feeling he has right now.
Exactly. I mean, we're just sitting here going, ooh. It's like that Family Guy skit with the knee.
I'm on
and
it.
he gets his knee, and you're just like,
Never had your kneecaps broken!
you know, it's gotta hurt.
And it does hurt.
It does. And he's saying, I guess I'll thunder. Do you have more than 5 points in 2 cards?
I actually
Yes.
liked that he waited a little bit. He was thinking
Now we
on
must
whether
stick
or not he
together.
actually wanted to keep the Thunder hidden in his deck for next matches, because it's pretty likely that he is able to get 5 points into gold.
Yeah, but he doesn't have any more matches because that's the second win for Gwentatown.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, that's yeah, he got 2-0. That Gwentatown takes it there. 2-0 in that matchup. So Eduroba unfortunately not finding a win in that scenario, and that puts Team Nova 3 and Team Aretuza on 3 and Team Nova on 1. So if we're looking at it in, a broad spectrum here, Aretuza already has the 3 wins. However, there is still one match left. Let's have a little look. We do have Jamedi versus Andiwan. Jamedi, actually, well, let me go. We can talk a little more. I was just about to introduce them myself, but here we go. There they are. All right. I have to say, 2 of the most friendly looking photos I think I've seen in Gwent. They both look like lovely, lovely young gentlemen. Jamedi is 21 years old. He studies medicine, and he is the founder of Team Nova and one of their competitive players. He describes himself as the unofficial saltiest Spanish player. He doesn't look like it in that photo, though, I've got to say. He looks rather wistful. Do you want to tell us a little bit about Andiwand, Dutch Boy?
And Andiwand is pretty familiar face right now. He comes from a Hearthstone background where he has played Hearthstone competitively for quite a bit, but he has recently pushed through onto Gwent and has already made an appearance in the previous Gwent Slam where you saw him compete at the Life Coach Mansion, and has also made his most recent appearance in the Gwent Open number 5 and won the whole thing.
That's right. He won the whole thing, and you know, you couldn't have kept the excitement down on the Aretuza Discord. Things were going off. Yeah, we're all very proud of him for that win, and so this is a great matchup. The founder of Team Nova versus the most recent Gwent Open winner, Andiwand. I'm excited. Are you excited, Dutch Boy? This is our last match of the day.
Yeah, these are great players, and I'm expecting some great Gwent.
Yeah, I expect so too. All right, well, let's get straight into it then and see what we have in store. All right, we are opening up with Aethne versus Dagon. We did forget to mention earlier that Andiwand had Harold banned from his lineup, so he's bringing Dagon and Amir. Jamedi had Krak banned, he is bringing Radovid and Aethne. So here we do see Jamedi's Aethne versus Andiwand's Dagon. And it is a Death Wish list. What are your feelings about this?
Really for sure. So it's kind of cool to see that there are some more Ethne variants right now. Andiwand doesn't necessarily know what he is up against, but it could get a little scared of compressions. Seeing the forces, he's probably going to be a little bit happier since he can snipe the forces away quite easily with the Cyclops. Ooh, and now he has to be a little bit... He has to be thinking, what is my opponent playing? Passing against Dagon on blue, the deck that is notorious for having a good longer round.
That's right. So Jamedi obviously trying to kind of keep some mystique, keep the aloof, keep aloof a little bit. Also important to note, Aretuza Andy. I was gonna call him Aretuza. Andiwand is bringing Whisper's Tribute in his lineup, so he does need to make sure that he gets some Death Wish units into the graveyard. Oh, that Foglet! Oh, this is Aretuza players today being absolutely haunted by these Foglets in round 2. But you know, Mr. Max, I'm sure, is out there thinking, yeah, at least I'm not the only one. So here we see Andy is not going to sit on his laurels. He is going to push this round. He does have that Frightener in his hand, so he thinks, you know what, I'm just going to bleed ya.
And we do see that Jamedi already has the muzzle in his hand to answer the Arcspur, but does decide to start off with the Force here to make sure that the muzzles creates even more points, since the Protector does get boosted whenever a spell is played in hand, so that means that the Farseer also gets boosted because another unit than the Farseer itself is getting boosted, so a lot of boosting is happening right now.
I don't think I've ever heard the word boost used so many times in a sentence.
Yes.
But yes, you're absolutely correct. So as you can see, they are getting boosted for every single special card that is played, and that boost is therefore setting off the Farseer, who in turn boosts herself. That's how this works. This is a Spellitel deck, my friends. And we are also seeing a card that fell out of favor for a little while there. It is actually Ithlin. Ithlin Tremors, of course, being the notorious card from the time of the dwarves, directly after Midwinter. But in this version, it looks like her target is indeed Alzur's Thunder. So that is presumably what Ithlin is going to be used for. We are seeing some very quick gameplay. I just spoke for 1 second about something and it's already... I think I've already missed 3 turns, so here we are. Okay, so we did see the muzzle onto the Arcaspore, stealing that 1 point per turn, which essentially means stealing 2 points per turn. Because you deny the 1 point hit from the Arcaspore on your side of the board, while also getting 1 point hit of your own. So therefore 2 points of value per turn from that muzzle. So that is a very... what's the opposite of expensive? A very, not cheap either. Valuable. It was a very valuable muzzle.
Yeah.
Words.
They're sometimes hard. And Gemini is not only generating a lot of points with the muzzle, he also has denied every single Death Wish unit anyone has played right now. So that means that the Griffins and the Cyclops that he is playing is gonna be not as much value as they normally are.
Absolutely. We see... Yeah, okay. We see the Rot Fiend coming down here.
Ooh.
Interesting. I thought for a second there he was just going to go for pure carryover and get out of the round, but I guess I was way off base there.
Yeah, this is anyone's answer to the Death Wish units keep getting the denial of the Death Wish units. He tries to make a Rot Fiend so that he can just get a few points going, but even that is denied.
Shemeti's just taking it on the chin. He's trying to perhaps convince Andy to pass. I think Shemeti just wants to, get into round 3.
I mean, he is sitting in 2 Fox right now, and whenever you are sitting in 2 Fox, you really want to get out of the round,
Exactly.
but anyone is just playing on.
Yeah, Andy one dropping those foglets, saying, you know what, if I'm going to get foglets, I might as well get them out of my hand now.
But it does give Andy or Gemini also an option to get rid of his poor cards.
That's true. And he's going to be left with that Ithlin in his hand. I suspect that's going to be the card he wants to go into round 3 with, but I think he might have to use it. I mean, look at the value that fog is getting every turn, and Andy one knows, like, you can't do this in one card. So it's hard to see here how Gemeti's... I'm sorry, I'm all mixed up. Sorry, I got completely muddled.
No
Oh gosh, my brain's still all fuzzy from the technical errors. I'm gonna blame that. We do see the Sage coming out.
Yeah, luckily for anyone, he did find his spy, so he's able to just throw away whatever he wants to go into the last round with his perfect hand. But Gemini is also setting up a good round 3 with the Protector growing every single play.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, I feel like the thing about Spellitel is it's a lot of work to go to get what is now a 13-point bronze, and what with the point creep that we've been seeing over since midwinter, it's a good bronze. I'm not denying it, but it's also not incredible.
Yeah, that's definitely true. If you look at NG hand buff, you kind of can compare the 2 decks in a certain way. You're losing some tempo on certain cards to generate a better round 3, but for that, the NG hand buff has 23, 21 point cards in the final round, and Spellitel has 14-point bronzes.
Absolutely. We do see the Woodland Spirit here, Brewess, which has a Rot Fiend and an Archospore, if I'm not mistaken, as its targets. And...
No Foglet for anyone since he has to
No
drop
Foglets.
it
I was
last
thinking
round.
the same thing. The Foglets have been used.
Oh, you actually do see the Rot Fiend coming in clutch here. If he hadn't picked the Rot Fiend from the Monster Nest, he now would have had only an Archospore to pick from the Brewers.
And here comes the double. He likes to go for the kill on the Archospore and on the Rot Fiend.
Yeah, it's kind of awkward for him since he either has to get the points going on the Death Wish units and actually help anyone proccing the Death Wish units, or he has to get the lower units and losing points that way.
But it looks like the Mandrake is going to come out, hit the Dolblathana Protector, and there it is. That is game 1 for Andy Wand. But wow, I mean, I feel like both players there did a great job with what they were given. What do you feel about that matchup? It was kind of, I'm not quite sure how to feel about it.
I think that a big part came down to the coin and the decision to dry pass Dagon. I think that dry passing Dagon is just a little too scary to do. Having 2 Fox, he could have even had 3 Fox with the list that anyone is using right now. So competing against 6, 7, 8 points per turn if the Archospores are also out there is just really hard to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And Gemeti really did hold his ground in that round too. But nevertheless, Andy one did take that with the Dagon Deathwish. Alright, so we will jump straight into the second game. Alright, let's get going. Let's do it.
Yes, let's go.
And we see Gemeti's Aethane coming out again, opting not to use the Radovid in his deck. Obviously
Talk about the devil.
Ah, speak of the devil, there he is. Uh, here we go. So this is going to be an interesting example of exactly what you were just talking about, I suppose, Dutch Boy, where the amount of work that Jamedi is going to have to do to get those bronze units is maybe not comparable to the very early and easy work that Andy has. And it looks like he does have the combo. Admittedly, he can't pull it via Vesemir here, which does lose him a little bit of tempo. But I'm suspecting this is going to be a really interesting matchup.
Yeah, it can be interesting whether or not anyone is able to actually get his combo off, since Gemini does run the artifact compression and can just keep on bullying away
there we go.
those bigger base strength units.
Absolutely. And there are a few of them, but we're going to see. And he's hovering over the Aethne, so I think we are. You're absolutely correct. You're going to see it again. Oh, or... Oh, yeah, we are. Okay, yeah, he debated us a little bit there. Okay, so we have the double artifact compression. What is his target now? He's going to try to find another knight, I think would be my assumption. There he has it. Oh, me oh my.
The GWENT Open champion at work.
Revealing the reconnaissance in his hand. For those who don't know, the Nilfgaardian Knight does reveal a bronze or silver card in your hand, but it does prioritize bronzes. So if you have a bronze in your hand, it will show a bronze, not a silver. And
now he's finally able to pull off the combo.
Here comes the combo. Mandraking. There it is. Right onto the Knight, pulling it back into his deck. Does put him at a slight point deficit. Or does it? Hang on.
It does.
It does, yes. It does put him at a slight point deficit, but gives him access to 18-point boosts turn after turn. Oh.
Uh-oh.
Ah, so he was trying to click it, but the connection had temporarily disconnected. Okay. Well, I'm glad we're not the only one having technical problems. Alright, so there we go. He brings it back in. Oh.
So even though he's down a card right now, he still has the option to generate a lot of tempo. So even if Gemini passes here, anyone can just play a bit in the second round. He can generate 2 Novas basically, and Gemini won't be able to keep up with that in 2 cards, having to go at least give anyone 1 card back, maybe even 2.
Exactly, and we see here that Gemini in this position is instead opting to kind of just play into this, you know, just to try to kind of get as many of these lower tempo special cards played, and maybe, hopefully, take this on even, rather than, you know, just giving the round to Andy Wand. Even though Andy Wand would go down 2 cards to get it, it would still leave Gemini with a lot of cards that do not draw a lot of power in and of themselves, and he really wants to get those protectors boosted up now while he can.
And anyone was also playing for a fairly long time around the White Frost, around the gimmicky stuff that Spelatel can be known for. And when he does see the points per turn coming down, getting a little bit too much per turn actually right now, he just does decide to pass and make it rough for Gemini during the next round to be able to keep up.
Quite right, and he's kind of switching here. He's not quite sure, do I want to play the Mercenary, do I want to play the Ale? But he does opt for the Mercenary by the looks of it. And into Ale. So there you go. A little from column A, a little from column B.
So something to look out for is how does Gemini actually use this muzzle. Muzzle is normally something that can just be 16 or 14 points and can be okay, but in this matchup it can actually just break, because all the low cards are golds and cannot be muzzled, and all the big cards are 20 plus points, and those are the bronzes that you do want to pull.
Yeah, it can be a little bit awkward. Furthermore, he doesn't really have much in the way of control in his deck, so I don't even see how he knocks down the value of a spotter, for example, or even an alchemist to get the muzzle on one of those units. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he maneuvers this.
And now he's basically choosing, do I want to go on even into the last round and play a long last round where I have to beat 3 or 4 Novas, or am I potentially gonna drop a card to be able to get a better last round and hopefully beat Andy if he has some worse draws?
Yeah, that's right. It's a rough decision here. I think really, like, something I found personally, I don't know about you, Dutch Boy, is that the passing game is one of the hardest parts of this game to learn, and it's so often there just isn't a correct answer. you know.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I think there are two things that are really hard in Gwent. One of those things is the passing game. Knowing when to pass is just so matchup dependent and also game dependent. And getting to
Oof.
learn that is really hard. And another thing is actually going into anyone's hand right now is knowing when to spy.
Mm-hmm. And we do
And
see that he got Roach in his hand, and oh god, he mulliganed it away and got the spy, and the spy then also shows him Roach second from the top of his deck. So that's got to feel a little bad.
he's a faithful horse.
She is a faithful horse. Actually,
So,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yes, please.
Oh.
We need to have some representation in Gwent. Burn. We do.
Horse, though. Feels bad, man.
I know. Okay, we see the boost on the Magne Division, again denying that muzzle. That could have been the other muzzle target, potentially, if he had decided to boost a different unit. But nope, he just goes straight on to the Magne Division.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not seeing... Sorry, go on.
And at this point, the muzzle doesn't really have much left. The Roach is basically the only thing he could be looking for, and
exactly
having an
what I was
8-point gold card is just
It's
nothing.
painful. It's painful. It's another hit your knee moment.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Yep, here comes the spotter.
Playing
He's-
some more Serenovas.
Yeah, and he's relying on there being no Scorch in Shemedi's hand.
I know for a fact that Spelatel decks normally don't play Scorch, because in most matchups your protectors are going to be the biggest units. You
Exactly
also
right.
play lots of Ails, which buff up your units even more, so Scorch doesn't really make sense into the deck.
Exactly right. And I mean, truth be told, Andy also knows that he has to play those spotters eventually. So, they're going to have to come down anyway. Here comes the Black Blood. There's the Roach. There's the muzzle target.
Yeah.
He is going to play the Ghoul, I think, for the Alchemist, if I'm not mistaken. There it is, yep.
Which is still some solid points.
Still decent. I mean, that was with Vesemir, that was 21, 25 points?
25.
Yeah.
Just a bronze card.
Yeah, I mean, it was...
Oh!
Denies the muzzle.
What a bully.
Ouch. Okay. Wow. What a finish to our matches today. That was it. I mean, oh my god. Well, Andy won, taking it 2-0. Oh, wow. I mean, like we said, the benefit of the Emir hand buff deck there, we saw it clear as day. Just getting, as you said, Serenova after Serenova after Serenova. And there was not a lot that Jamedi could do in that situation. He really tried at the beginning to brick that situation using the artifact compression. But alas, it did not work out for him. Alright, Dutch Boy, shall we try to get you back on camera just so we can say a few nice words before we finish up? What do you say? Shall we give it a shot?
I shall do my best.
We shall. I think we're good now. I feel like it's been good for a while now. So let's see if I can get you back there. Here we go. Hey, there you are. Let's see if
That's
I can...
me.
That's you! There you are. Oops. There we go. Alright, very nice. Well, guys, that brings us to the end of our show today. Thank you all so much for joining us. I think, personally, I would just like to thank our viewers. Thank you, all of you, for tuning in, and especially thank you to those who are patient with us throughout our little technical situation. We really appreciate it. These things do happen, and your patience and understanding means the world to us. Thank you to the organizers and to our players. Obviously, we couldn't do it without a lot of people behind the scene who do all the organizational work, get the deck lists, organize the games. Dutch Boy as well, also helping set up the rules, all this kind of stuff. Just excellent. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, special shout out to Green Cricket. He presented all that you see around me here. That is all his creation, and we couldn't also create such a beautiful layout for this show without Green Cricket by our side. Dutch Boy, were there any thanks that you wanted to give out?
Yeah, of course. Also a big thanks to Team Nova for helping us set up the show match and helping us set up the meta snapshot on our website. We have been working together with them for quite a bit now, and they're pretty chill dudes.
Yeah, that's a nice way to put it. Yeah, we've got some a really great relationship with Team Nova, and especially for us here on Team Aretuza, we really appreciate their cooperation and good games, well played.